Right. Let me just go ahead and check, see when everything is going on here. When Restream decides to start sending stuff to the good old YouTube. Cool, we're all live. All right, cool. Hey guys, what's going on? We're talking about both slates today. I got a funeral I got to go to today, so I apologize. I'm not in my normal location. Might be back tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. But both slates today are extremely appealing today. In fact, the Truck Series is probably more appealing than the Xfinity Series. I mean, the $4 already filled it, but with how small these slates are, it is super, super appealing to probably enter more than normal, especially when we look at Homestead in general, right? Typically, Homestead is one of those miles and a half or however intermediates, right? 1.5s, whatever. That there's a drastic difference between the fast cars and the slow cars. Okay, so first off, like when we look at the Truck Series and stuff, we have like very, very obvious plays on the Truck Series slate today, and they are typically all starting up front. Or people that you'd want to go to. Like specifically when we look at the back from like, or kind of working backwards here, from Ben Rhodes, Williams Sawalish on the fringe of being viable. But I would look at it and be like Corey Day, Crafton Jones, Garcia, Allen, Daly, Bird, Andretti, Frankie, Justin, and Boyd are unplayable. Okay, and in most circumstances that I see, like a 28 from Jake Garcia is not going to be enough. 25 from Lawless Allen not going to be enough. A 17 from Frankie is not going to be enough, right? So when we look at the back of this truck field, Tanner Gray, Matt Mills, Timmy Hill seem to be the only people past starting 20th that are playable. Okay. You then combine that with the fact that there's a drastic difference in speed between these cars and these teams and where they're at, right? Let me make sure my audio is going through. That is the one thing I didn't do. Give me a second here. I'm assuming it's working fine. All right, cool. Yeah, nobody's complaining about it. Okay, cool. So when we're looking at the top portion of this field in the Truck Series, this is a race that I think you should take as many people starting inside the top 20 as physically possible. And if we're being forced to play Tanner Gray, right, like he most likely scores 38 points on a bad day, 38, 39, he'll hit value and certainly be one of the top performing players on there. So, we're playing Tanner Gray. We then move to, what value are we getting to? And because we're not seeing a situation to where we're having to, first off, they're not viable, right? The guys at the bottom of the field. But due to price and due to the people that we have interest in, I don't feel like we're really missing on anything if Matt Mills is the only value play that we use or Timmy Hill is the only value play that we use. Like we don't need to double punt on this race. We don't need to worry about that at all. When we start looking at where we can start building lineups and stuff, there's a real chance that like you can just build a pretty balanced lineup today, and have like Chase Purdy be like the cheapest guy in your lineup. I would absolutely encourage you to try and build. And yet again, we're playing Gray, okay, and Timmy Hill and Matt Mills are viable. But I would really, really stress that I think the optimal, or at least a really good strategy today, is going to have the Gray brother who starts in the back of the field, and then the rest of the people inside the top 20. Okay, when you look at the amount of fall off that these teams are having, when you look at the amount of guys inside the top 20 that can maintain positions in there, like we're not going to have guys in the back of the field to go from 28th, to finish 14th. That's just not going to happen. Okay, even if we get like a green white checker or whatever, they're still going to get ran through by the faster cars. This is just a track based on if you have a good team, good speed, like you're going to be fast. Like the B, C, and T and D tier teams to have like no chance of realistically finishing top 10, right? Okay. We then look at that with the context of who are the main favorites to win this race and get laps led and stuff. And the main favorites, when we entered this week, looking back at the previous intermediate tracks for the Truck Series, it's Corey Heim, and no particular order. This is just the five guys because it's not on my screen here. Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, Nicholas Eckes, right? Like those are the four. We've seen Majeski run into issues in races, and I would slowly start putting him as about third and fourth at those intermediate tracks. And so when you start looking at Corey Heim, Nicholas Sanchez, and Eckes, okay, Eckes will most likely probably finish top 4 in this race regardless, but I don't think he's going to be the favorite to lead laps, okay? So he'd be like a tertiary option here. We look at Corey Heim, probably the best car this season, regardless of what track it was. But Corey Heim, not only do we finally have him starting on pole at an intermediate track, but he has the fastest car starting first. Like, I don't see how Corey Heim isn't the race winner. He should very easily pull away from the field and not really be battling anybody other than Sanchez. And Sanchez is a much more appealing option than Eckes due to the fact that he's cheaper and he can pay off his salary much easier. If Eckes and Nicholas both score 48 points today, Nicholas was the better play. It very much comes down to that. And so when we start looking at why I would implore you to play as many guys in the top 20 as possible with the Gray brother in the back of the field, because you can get the lap leader, Corey Heim. You can get Chase Purdy starting 17th, who most likely has a top 10 car, just where these guys are at. You can go to Lane Riggs. You can go to Dean Thompson. You can go to Connor Zilish. You can go to Mozak. You can go to Daniel Dye. You can go to Caden Honeycutt. Like, you can build your entire lineup with just guys in the top 20 outside the Gray brother in the back. Or if you need to get some salary to pay up for somebody or whatever, then going to Timmy Hill or Matt Mills makes a ton of sense, okay? So going back to this slate, the fact that the slate is so small, and yeah, sure, it's top heavy, whatever, end of the year. We always deal with, smaller slates anyway for NASCAR. But this seems like a race that if you're entering 10, 15, 20, 35, 50 lineups, I think you had a good chance of being able to land on a lineup that has a very viable chance of winning. Because we're removing pretty much half the field right off the bat, right? And not only are we removing half the field, we're removing most of the value plays, okay? So not only does that not give you, as big of a pool, it also changes the lineup construction that you would typically use. Like, this kind of, this slate kind of removes the stars and scrubs aspect, okay, from being viable, right? Like, even if we were going to go that way, looking at the salary for these guys, like, what are you going to do? Play Bird at 51? Play Frankie at 52? Like, the Ream trucks have no speed, right? We're not playing Frankie. We're not going to play Bird. We're not playing Andretti, because I don't even know what he's doing in these cars, right? Have we done anything from here? So, like, Timmy Hill, Matt Mills, hell, even Connor Jones crafted at 69. Like, your value plays should be in the 6K range, or you're going to Timmy Hill. Like, those are the only ways to go about it. So we remove the back half of the field. We really remove the bottom half of the salary. So yet again, going with a pretty balanced lineup seems to be the way to go. Or you just play like Purdy and Thompson together, Purdy and Crafton. Thompson and Crafton, whatever, like, build pretty balanced lineups, and that should lead towards being optimal today. So for the truck series, I think it's a pretty good slate, honestly. If you're building a lot of lineups, you can have a pretty condensed pool. You can have a pretty condensed approach to it, just building balanced lineups. We don't have to get crazy. On top of being Homestead anyway, like, we're not going to see people that have speed out of nowhere. So that's what I would do for the truck series, okay? And yeah, right, Sterling. Like, I mean, I don't know how Corey Heim doesn't just kick the field up and down the street in this. So if we do believe in that, right, it then goes to the fact of even more so balance wise. Like, if Corey Heim really does kick the field up and down the street, it removes. I mean, Sanchez at 93, so he needs what would that be, like 70 of 40, 47, 48 hit value. Let me just check really fast. Which, I mean, I'm giving him fast laps and laps as well. I don't know if he hits value without that. Let me just check really fast here. Third with 7 fast laps is 45.15. That's a 4.8. Might have a chance of doing it with that type of performance, removing laps led. But so if Corey Heim really runs away with the field, okay, then that build, in my mind, would probably dictate Corey Heim, Enfinger, Eckes, possible Rhodes, still Chase Purdy, but it would probably then be plays that at least offer at least 5 to 6 place differential points here. So yet again, not having to build stars and scrubs, right? Like this seems like a race to where I think if you're building a lot of lines, you have a really, really good chance of being there. Personally, I think Sanchez can scrape off some fast laps, but my main decisions are going to be if I want to play Sanchez or chase, a little bit of place differential here from some of these guys like Enfinger, Eckes, hell, even Friesen, Ankrum. But as I said, I think playing the majority of the guys starting in the top 20 is the way to approach the Truck Series slate. That's where I'm at. I don't know yet. Now, at this point, yet again, I got to go to the funeral. I'm not going to be able to watch any of the races this weekend, which sucks because I really, really love Homestead. It's absolutely stupid that, NASCAR does not decide the championship here anymore. Absolutely no clue. Best race. Should be in the playoffs. I don't know why they put it early in the season next year. Whatever. NASCAR is going to do NASCAR things. So due to that, I'm not playing a lot of lineups. I'm probably not going to get to Caden. We finally had, for the most part, we kept playing Caden when this stupid guy was like 66, 72 or whatever. I mean, he's 87 now. Now he actually has to do stuff. And when I look at that salary, I don't think he can pay that off from what he's been able to show. Like he was great when he started 7th at like 6,700, right? Like, and then he, blow motors or whatever. But I'm not paying. I'm not going to play Caden at 87 here when I can get Stuart Friesen at 77. When I can get Lane Riggs at 9,000. With how well Riggs has been running, the debate and possibly maybe Sims would help you decide this of like who, if Corey runs away with the race, who is a better play in these, a place differential heavy type of lineup with guys in the top 20. And Lane Riggs might be that guy. He's 9,000. You're not having to pay 93 for Nicholas. You're not having to pay 10K for Eckes. Lane Riggs is probably in consideration there. That's what I got to decide for mine. Like I said, the 4's already filled up. 4 might still be just as viable for Xfinity, but honestly, either building a lot of limestone in 10 or just 20 max in the 4 and just locking in Corey Heim really seemed like a great approach today. But that's my opinion on the truck slate, which is, in my opinion, a lot more favorable. I think it's much easier to decide who's going to lead laps and who's more desirable there. And Sterling, is that a statement or a question? Just checking, because I also think that Riggs comes in lower, and my gut would be if you're not playing Nicholas and you're not playing Eckes, I think you should probably prioritize Riggs. I think he has a much better chance of running well than he should, because he's actually eclipsed oh my god, Riggs actually knows how to drive now. People when he started, and even I was probably higher on him to begin with than I may have should have been, because he ran good at IRP during that first race that he started with the Friesen team, at a low price tag. And then he jumps in the car that Zane Smith, would compete with, and he would underperform, but he's his little baby, right? Now that he's actually there, and he he's actually ran bigger tracks now, Riggs should probably be considered more across the board at any track type. And so not a priority as a lap leader. I don't think he leads laps. I don't think he wins the race clearly or whatever. But if this is a case where Corey Heim leads, 127 laps or whatever, I think Riggs is probably the most likely to eclipse, his 45 points and hit value and compete to be optimal today if it's just a one lap leader lineup. That's where I'm at. And thank you for clarifying that. I assumed it was, but I just want to make sure. Now, the Xfinity Series race, on the other hand, oh boy, this is why it's a bit of it's trickier, right? We'll start with the Benedetto. No practice laps, no Q laps. By default, the Benedetto is where do I got him at? here. Give me a moment. DeBenedetto is what in the heck? Oh, that's the wrong one. I got DeBenedetto at like finishing 23rd, 24th, 22nd, right? At that point, hitting value at a 5.3, 5.2, 5.5. I think DeBenedetto is priority in the Xfinity race. Very similar to, the Gray brothers started, DFL in the Truck Series. So with that said, at least we can pinpoint that. So we're dealing with 5 guys. I have no clue, honestly, who's going to be the best play on this slate. We have several drivers who are showing speed. I mean, even like, I think Retzlaff is viable. I think Austin Hill. I think Ryan Sieg. The fact that Ryan Sieg is in a 28 car, let me double check on that, because I'm pretty sure that they are doing this. I need to actually bring down Retzlaff. I don't know why I gave him that projection here. I need to update Retzlaff really fast here, because I had him way too high here. Okay, yeah, 32 makes way more sense. Let me just upload that, because I was like, dude, why do I got Retzlaff at like 42 points? That was a misclick. Let me update that really fast. Sorry, I apologize. Where you at, Retzlaff? Let me update you here, big boy. All right, cool. All right, we're good there. Okay, so I think he played. I think DeBenedetto is a priority based on what he's been running, based on where or how he has been running this year, based on how these RSS cars have been running. Oh, but he's with different, dude, same team. Okay, who cares? That's what I was gonna check to make sure Sieg is in the 28 car, because if he is, what the heck is this? Dude, Butterman never interacts with me on Twitter. What the hell is this? Oh, he was like, yeah, dude, I can't believe fucking Judas Priest canceled. Oh my god, dude. My mom flew in. We were like, oh, I'll get the fucking we'll get second row tickets to the one that's close to me. We're not gonna go to Austin. We won't go to Dallas. We'll just go to the one near Houston. And then fucking Judas Priest cancels because somebody got sick. Let me check. Ryan, yeah. So Sieg is in the 28. This is an an owner point play from RSS. That's why Kyle is in the 39. These two are just swapping numbers because they need to bring the 28 higher in owner points and stuff. So due to that, and the fact that like Ryan Sieg had very, very similar speed to the SHR guys, as abnormally distributed mentioned yesterday, and when I looked at the practice data, I saw the same thing. I think Ryan Sieg is a great play, and I think he might actually be the best value play on the slate, like point per dollar wise. Like Ryan Sieg is there, so like Matt DeBenedetto, at least in my mind, Matt DeBenedetto, Ryan Sieg, I think they're pretty much must plays. Past that, I have no clue. Like up top, like I would lean Eric Almirola, but I was wrong last week at Vegas. Still, I have not been able to watch Vegas. I do apologize. I've been incredibly busy this week, and I have no clue what happened at Vegas. I have no clue what AJ did to win the race. I have no idea. I have not had time to rewatch that. I'm just going off of data. Yet again, my stuff is showing that Eric, even with the laps from Vegas, it still shows me that Eric would probably be the favorite with Custer second, Sheldon Creed third. But I honestly have no clue how this race is going to shake out, because this seems like a race that Creed would run pretty well at. When we look at the tracks that Creed typically runs good at, intermediates, it's high-wear racetracks. It's racetracks where you got to race by the wall, right? And he's starting second. I have no real issue. I have no interest in Chandler Smith. Okay, I'll make that clear. You then go with how well Eric Almirola has been doing this year, and I think he's the favorite. We then look at what Custer has been doing in everything. He's been the most consistent on the intermediate tracks, where he's either been the first, second, or third best car. Okay, you have Allgaier jump up there, you have Eric Almirola show up and jump up there, whatever. But like Cole Custer's been the most consistent. So for the Xfinity, like I think it's a real toss-up. I don't think there's going to be one data point that pushes us towards Eric, Cole, or Creed. Specifically, I think you got to make your choice there. I got them all projected pretty similar, and I think this is a race where what is he barking at, dude? What is this guy barking? Hopefully, this is coming through. It's probably like wild animals outside. Yeah, I don't know like what separates Creed, Eric Almirola, and Custer other than like I mean, my projections would lean Eric, but I think they're all the same play. I mean, if anything, this might be a race to where you'd prefer to just play or have exposure to the guy who's expected to be lowest owned. Because if you're doing, and let's just try this really fast because I actually haven't built for this slate. I have for the trucks. I haven't done Xfinity yet. Let me just check and see what we're looking at when we run both. When we take two of those three guys here with Sieg and DiBenedetto. This also feels like, now, this is just from outside looking in. As I said, I haven't watched Vegas. But Vegas seemed like there was a lot of stuff going on, clearly, because there were so many lap leaders and so many fast laps spread out. Yet again, without the context of me watching, I really don't like not having that context, just from a personal perspective. But typically, when that happens from a data perspective, I would lean to that being likely here. And then also, Eric Almirola and Custer are the most expensive. So let's just see what this looks like here. Also, shout out to my iPhone 6. This hunk of shit is so bad. I need to get a new phone so bad. All right, so where are we at here? Eric Almirola, Custer, DiBenedetto, Sieg leaves you 73 on average for your players, okay? So then, what are we looking at in that range here? I also don't know why Truex was so slow in practice. Like, his speed should have been better, right? I'm actually really, really intrigued by Truex today at 87, because we typically don't see him be that bad in practice, right? He's been running way better in these races, and he's qualified 22nd in JGR car, man. Like, I have him with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got him at 14th. I think that's probably under projecting. When I'm looking at this race, also, like, I don't know what Herbst does either. Like, Herbst had tremendous speed, like, probably second best in practice across the board when we look at all the lap times, right? Starts 8th. Like, there's no way Riley, like, kills this race, right? Like, I've been playing Riley all fucking year, and I don't think Riley does it. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is because when I start looking at what I have and where people fall apart at, DiBenedetto, Ryan Sieg, 2 of Cole, Creed, Almirola, and then, dude, I think Ryan Truex would probably make sense. Probably make a lot of sense there, because if he doesn't, then you're going to be doing people like Jesse Love at like right at value, doing people like Anthony Alfredo right at value, Kyle Weatherman, Josh Williams. Again, going back to what we started with talking about, how Homestead is like, you either have speed or you don't. This is where I would prioritize where people have been at other intermediate tracks, okay? So, like, I would probably trust Ryan Truex to finish, 8th, even though the practice data and Q doesn't show that at all, right? Whereas, like, Alfredo's been up there as well, but Alfredo's like 15th, 16th best. He starts, where's Alfredo at? He starts 18th, I gave him 14th today, but I think he's going to be outscored by people. That's where I'm at right now. Both these slates are really appealing. I just feel way more comfortable with what is it? With Ryan Truex than like Anthony Alfredo or something. I'd rather pay up for Truex and use a value than go somewhere else. No, I mean they're with the same team. They literally just swap numbers for a ownership point of view, from the RSS point of view. They went to 28 higher in owner points at the end of the season. Yeah, I mean it's Sam Hunt car. Sam Hunt, Joe Gibbs. It's literally identical. I can't believe people still bring that up. Yeah, I mean all these guys are getting old. I look straight up. I've seen probably like 350 shows in my life. Like no bullshit. Like you clearly see all the band teams I go to. Like I've seen Priest 4 times. Okay. I've seen pretty much any band you can any band you can think of, right? Like I got super fortunate with a venue in El Paso that did and still does a ton of free concerts when I was young and I was there. And so like they had Slayer, Megadeth, Godsmack, for free, right? So I'd go to like 2 shows a week for like 7 years, right? But yeah, no, that was super disappointing. I was really annoyed. Priest canceled this week. Anyway, enjoy seeing Iron Maiden, Joshua. I hope they put on a good show. I've actually never seen Iron Maiden. I don't have any opinions on them past that, to be honest. But yeah, man, like this Xfinity slate is much more up in the air than the truck, man. Even Clements, like starting 23rd, like Clements can hit value. I just really don't have a lean up top. Or I'd rather, let me change it. I don't think the data shows a lean. I'm going to probably lean Eric Amarola and Cole Custer. If I feel like I'm running into salary issues, I will take out Custer and use Creed. But I don't think that's going to be a case or the biggest deal. Looking at projections, my highest projection goes Eric Amarola, Cole Custer, and then Creed. And then Riley Herbst. But that's more based on potential laps led and fast laps. I don't think that'll probably end up being the in-game scoring for these fellas here. I think Ryan Sieg's a great play. I think DiBenedetto's a great play. I think as long as you play those two and then you're chasing Creed, Custer, or Eric Amarola, I think you're making a pretty good start there. And past that, we're letting kind of Jesus take over. I believe we got like 25 minutes before the truck slate starts, which might be wrong there. No, we got 41 minutes. If you guys have any more questions or anything, I'll look at stuff specifically. But I mean, that's really my take for Xfinity. Like I said, I have no clue what the hell AJ did last week to find the speed. I have no clue if it was on pit road, but even if it was on pit road, he still had speed. Like I have no idea what happened. I'm super annoyed. Like that's a race to where I'm like, I need to watch Vegas. So I have that context. And since what do? We go Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix. I mean, this would be the race that you need that context for. I might, before I leave to go to this funeral, I might watch the Vegas race like 2x to see what exactly happened to make the race play out the way it did. I'm assuming pit road played a huge role of how things flip-flopped. But then I'm just kind of speaking out loud there. Yeah, and like renovation for what? What do you need to do? Good Lord, man! Like, what are we doing? The stands are fine. Everybody that goes to Homestead loves it. I haven't heard any complaints about Homestead at all. Seats are great. Like, what in the H, dude? Oh, sweet! And enjoy your 5th time seeing them. I mean, dude, I just love older bands, man. I really do. Stefan, what's his name? Probably the last thing on my bucket list that I want to see. Actually, no, it's Nickelback. I haven't seen Nickelback, and I want to see Stefan Piercing from Rat at some point. Those are the only 2 things that's on my list that I would actually. Also, at this point, like I don't go to many concerts because I've like seen everybody. Like if I'm gonna go now, I'm like actually gonna just pay money and be like second row and stuff. But like renovation for what? Like just like Also, lastly, real fast, like if you guys aren't watching these races now, I was already watching them to begin with because they're better races. But if you have not watched the races that are recently being uploaded over the last like month and a half, 2 months of 2008, 2006, 2005, 2007, 2004 races that are being uploaded in 60 FPS, like 4K quality, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I don't know how anybody can watch that old stuff and then see the product that we have now and be like, yeah, dude, I love NASCAR now. Like, it's crazy. The fact that we could watch that stuff in like crystal clear quality now, like why would you watch anything now? It's crazy. But yeah, Homestead's the best track for racing in general. Shame I won't be able to watch probably any three of them this week. But that's mainly also, and shout out or put in chat. I think Sterling, you may have been competing in that one. Anybody remember the Noah Gregson, David Starr blowing a tire last lap? You know, losing people just an ass load of money to end the season. I guess that was like 2021. That may have been before COVID. Actually, I don't remember when that was. But that's probably one of my. That's like that memory is like burned in my brain of David Starr taking out Noah Gragson at this track. Haven't seen anything else. Joshua, enjoy your show at Maiden or with Maiden and stuff. Everybody else, best of luck in the slates today. I'll be live tomorrow morning to talk the Cup Series, whether I'm here or at my place, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I really do think that if you enter a lot of line from the Truck Series, you're probably going to win a lot of money today. Contest is so small. I think like if you're, especially like when it gets this small, if you're like Sterling, I know you are, even at I think it's a 105 cap. Now that you know the size is that small, I think you guys have a tremendous advantage today. So best luck, Sterling. Best luck anybody who's entering that many lineups. And I will talk with you guys tomorrow. Right? I don't think I have anything else to add. Yeah. Okay. Cool. See you guys later. Best luck in the races. Bye bye.